So we're talking about when is the right time to hire business legal counsel, and are there warning signs that tell you you need to make that hire? And I have a daughter who lives in Florida, and so I've visited some of the amusement parks in Florida where it rains. And I've noticed that there are two kinds of people in those parks. There's one kind, the rain comes, like in the afternoon, and there's two kinds of people. One kind is searching for shelter and buying ponchos, and the other kind is pulling the ponchos out of their backpack and just putting them on. And with business legal counsel, it's kind of the same way. You know that in the environment in which we live, there's rain and there are legal considerations. And so that kind of person is just going to have a relationship with a business lawyer from the get-go. And, maybe there's a week of sunny weather and we don't need to really be in close communication. And maybe there's a week when there's a lot of rainstorms and we're talking to that attorney more often. But you have that relationship. If you're going to wait for signs, and wait for the storm clouds, then definitely when you get an email or an angry call from a customer or vendor, or something doesn't feel right in your interactions, or you have some concern about your partner and whether they're holding up their end of the bargain. You can go by your gut and what you're hearing from people. I would rather that you have a relationship with the attorney so that when you have something that feels not right, you can just pick up the phone and say, something doesn't feel right. And it's just that you don't have to go through a whole process of finding a new attorney. You just pick up the phone and say, what am I missing here? Here are some things that really require you to pick up the phone and immediately talk to your attorney. One is before you sign an agreement. One is if you have anybody in your business relationships who writes you a letter or an email or a text saying you owe them money and you disagree with that, call your attorney. If, on the other hand, you're owed money and the person hasn't paid promptly, let your attorney know. If you receive any audit type inquiry from the government where they're asking to review or inspect any of your records, you need to call your attorney. If at the same time one of your business relationships is asking you to provide an accounting or an explanation of a situation, that's usually a prelude to a demand, and you should call your attorney. The situations that we as business owners can find ourselves in are quite diverse and quite numerous. And so in addition to everything I've just said, if you feel like you're not on solid ground at any moment in dealing with any of your business relationships, that's a great moment to just check in with your attorney. Ongoing legal advice can benefit your business as it goes through a growth stage, because as you're growing, you're forming more business relationships, more customers, more suppliers, more vendors, and the scope of your services and products is changing. And so you'll want to be keeping up with that growth and that change so that your customer agreements and your vendor agreements reflect that change. And you're also probably going to be taking on more investors. And by investors, that could be a business partner of yours. It could be an actual shareholder or a passive investor. And you definitely want to be consulting with your attorney as you take on additional stakeholders into your business. A lot of people don't always think through what and who they want in a business attorney. And when they don't think that through, what they really need, sometimes they end up just defaulting to who's the lowest cost provider, who's the Southwest Airlines in my business legal community. So I would encourage you to think about what you need in your business attorney. One thing you might consider is how experienced are they? How often do they deal with business situations, business disputes, and avoiding business disputes? Another thing to think about is, do you want an attorney who has a full-fledged team, with support staff so that they can rally to your cause? Or are you more comfortable with like a solo attorney who you'll be talking to that person all the time, but they don't have the support that they need? Another thing to consider is, how innovative are they in terms of how they deliver the services to you and how they price the services? Another thing to think about is, what kind of communication do you want with your attorney? Do you want an attorney who reaches out to you and is in constant communication with you? Or do you want to feel like you're taking a number, when you're trying to get a hold of the attorney and you feel like, you're waiting around for them to call you back? Also, when choosing a business attorney, you should be asking questions. I would also pay attention to the questions they're asking you. What time and attention is the attorney giving to understanding what your needs are as a business owner, and what drives those needs? What's most important to you, and what are you trying to accomplish? Is your attorney really drilling down and understanding you as a person and what you're trying to accomplish with your business and what you're trying to accomplish in this situation? I know that you as a business owner are looking for a trusted legal advisor that's a great fit for you personally and for the business, which is an expression of you. And so if you have any questions about who is the right kind of attorney to guide you forward, give us a call at the Sierra Crest Business Law Group.